This video is my controversial thoughts on the new Evolved mode that is coming out in Evercold. I am not coming at this from an elitist point of view because I am not the best player. There are better players than me in this game. But I still want to address the elephant in the room. This might make some people angry, but I don't care. Feel free to agree or disagree with me in the comments. This is just my opinion. I will be using Evolved mode when Evercold comes out next year. I have already decided that I will be playing a tank and a ranged DPS like I have been this expansion. I am not sure what tank I will be playing yet because I want to see what the new tank is like. I will likely be sticking with Dancer for ranged DPS. However, this could change depending on if I like the new ranged DPS job or if I like the Evolved mode for Bard. I have been playing Dancer since Shadowbringers, so it is difficult for me to give up playing this job because I like its mobility. I have nothing against Evolved mode and I think it will be a great addition to the game. But I can't help but think this mode was created for the Japanese player base. The Japanese player base has a higher average skill level than the rest of the Final Fantasy XIV community. I think this is transparent when you start looking at the data, especially when it comes to the rating scene. The Japanese Final Fantasy XIV community has this game down to a science. They are like a well-oiled machine. This means that they should not have any issues adapting to the new Evolved mode. But I do not play on the Japanese servers, I play on the North American servers, and the North American servers are a different beast. Evolved mode will be removing spells and fusing other spells together. Theoretically, this should make the jobs easier to play in Evolved mode. The problem is that we already have Evolved mode Lite. It's called PvP. In Final Fantasy XIV PvP, you have 6 spells that you are pressing on a regular basis. Nobody should have a hard time playing PvP content in Final Fantasy XIV. But you know what? This isn't the case. I am a PvP enjoyer. I PvP a lot because I am working on achievements. Anybody that PvPs in North America on a regular basis knows that half this community cannot DPS their way out of a paper bag. This has become even more clear with the new changes to Frontlines in patch 7.5. All you must do in Frontlines is press your 6 buttons, play objectives, and keep an eye on your map. But the average North American player struggles to do this. The Final Fantasy XIV developers will be trying to transition the player base into Evolved mode. I have no problem with this, but Evolved mode is going to have more than 6 buttons to press. If half the North American community struggles to press 6 buttons in Frontlines, then they will struggle to press even more buttons in Evolved mode. And Evolved mode is going to be more complicated than PvP in this game, because several of the buttons will be fused. This means you will have one button that does multiple things. Reborn mode has worked with dozens of buttons because each button only does one thing. In other words, there is less memorization involved. What I am trying to say is that I do not think that half the North American player base has the required skill level to use Evolved mode. Forcing people to play in Evolved mode is going to cause problems, and people will get forced into using Evolved mode. This is because the developers have already said that Evolved mode will be doing more damage. It is very likely that Party Finder will be requiring people to use it, and Party Finder groups will be able to tell who is using it and who isn't. Just like it's very easy to tell who has been pressing their 6 buttons in Frontlines and who is getting carried. I am just a bit concerned with Evolved mode because it could drastically impact normal content in this game. Normal content is what most people do. I'm not concerned about people using it in hard content because they will have to perform properly. You just won't clear the content if your rotation is messed up. But normal content, The quality of player could easily drop in normal content if evolved mode is too difficult. And most content already has problems in reborn mode. I shouldn't have to use a Phoenix down on a healer in normal content, but more often than not, my Phoenix downs are used on healers. I am just saying that there's a skill level gap that needs to be addressed before you force people to use a more complicated form of combat. Again, I am not the best player in this game, but I still try. While half this player base doesn't even try, and it's incredibly transparent. If you cannot PvP properly, then evolved mode won't be for you. You will be better off sticking with reborn mode. Thanks for listening.